Hey guys, I made it to this live. I'm going to cover the second match as well. Whatever I was doing originally got rained out. We got some bad weather here. So happy to feature this match. And sorry I'm late, by the way. As always, just a tad late, not too bad. 3 love Berrettini double break. I spent a lot of time studying head-to-head between these 3 guys, Berrettini, Arnaldi, and Cobolli. And it's fascinating. So Cobolli, first and foremost, let's discuss the age. It'll make more sense from what I'm about to say. Berrettini is 30, Cobolli is 24, and Arnaldi is 25. So I need to know the history in the juniors, and more specifically the history of Berrettini and Arnaldi, because my Italian viewers have educated me that the dad of our Cobolli, who's a coach, used to coach Berrettini, and Berrettini was even babysitting our Cobolli. So the reason why that's important is because they never played each other on tour. It's 0-0. And I couldn't even find anything in futures, obviously, because there's an age difference. So juniors, forget that. So it's 0-0 officially. However, what is the official head-to-head between Berrettini and Cobolli? Because I guarantee you they played at least 100 sets, if not 1,000, if they're like brothers. So that will make things more interesting, you know, between these 2 guys if they happen to play, which it looks like they're gonna play. And if Arnaldi happened to play Cobolli in the semis, if he comes through this one, they did play each other a couple times on tour. It's 1-1, and they played each other 3 times on the future circuit, and at the future challenger circuit, and it's 2-1 Arnaldi there. So a little more history there. I don't know about juniors. I always look for junior results. They're hard to find, actually, because you talk about juniors on the ITF circuit, those you can find, but then what about the national results in Italy? Juniors, like national championships, you know, state championships and all that, even though they're not from the same state. I understand that, but it matters a lot, and it matters that these guys are all from the same country, and that's going to be a big topic of discussion in this live. I'm going to explain my viewpoints on it. I went into it a little bit during the FAA Cobolli match. I think it's going to add an interesting dynamic to that semifinal, and if it happens to be Berrettini Cobolli, that certainly is going to be such an interesting semifinal. Now, these 2 guys have never played each other either. Berrettini Arnaldi is 0-0 head-to-head, and I couldn't find any results in futures, obviously not because of age discrepancy. And juniors, of course, there's not going to be anything there. So we got 25 people in here, a record low, and also see a lot of empty seats in the stands. Not too many people excited about Berrettini Arnaldi in the quarterfinals. And if I take a look at my incredible predictions here, take a look who I got. I got Bublik and Sinner. Bublik and Sinner were supposed to play here in the quarters, right? How about that? How about that, guys? That's something else, huh? Bublik lost in the first round to Struff. And I don't even need to begin to talk about Sinner. We discussed that too much. So, listen, this is so exciting. I don't care how many people are in here. I'm pumped up about this Roland Garros. I'm really pumped up about this. Let me tell you. But let's discuss this match more specifically. I think it's interesting because Arnaldi is a marathon man. I'm so in awe of this guy's fitness levels. It's absolutely insane what he's been able to do in this tournament. And he misses the volley there, had a good look. What he's been able to do is nothing short of spectacular. And let's go through the results real quick. I will have to take a break and get a charger real quick. I'm about running low on some of the battery. I'm gonna get battery problems in a second, so I'm gonna have to take a little break after this game. But let's quickly discuss Arnaldi's results, and they're insane. Okay, so that Collignon match was crazy, 7-6 in the fifth, and the Tiafoe match to me. Look, I wouldn't place it above the Fonseca-Djokovic match, but it's very close. It's one of the most interesting matches that I've seen this year. The sheer fight. There's an incredibly high level of play. A lot of drama. Tiafoe had that match on his racket. And again, Arnaldi is just an incredible fighter. And the story is very, very interesting with Arnaldi because he had that horrible foot injury. Quite chronic actually, so I'm happy to see him like running all over the place and being able to play these like 5-hour matches. And he finds himself now ranked. This is the beautiful thing about this game of tennis. This is rewarded not only with money, but it's rewarded with, most importantly, rankings and the ability to get into tournaments and play on the actual ATP tour, not have to play challengers, which is what happens to both of these guys. They play challengers. Both Berrettini and Arnaldi prior to this tournament were outside the top 100. So I went through this last time, but Arnaldi will be ranked, if he loses this match, 53 in the world, a 51 spot jump, which is absolutely insane. Because if he wouldn't have defended those Rome points, he would have been ranked around 150. And here's Arnaldi with a break point to reduce the break difference to 1. And Berrettini, what he does best, kick and blasting forehands. And Berrettini is in the same boat because Berrettini's live ranking is going to be 47 in the world, 58 spot jump. So that's the beautiful thing about it. This gives them a year of tour matches, both of these guys, with a main draw everywhere. And they can build their rankings and get it even higher. So, it's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's a beautiful story. The drop shot return from Arnaldi. You don't see that too often. And there he is running again. Running like crazy. The ultimate runner. I just look at this guy and I feel like this guy could have been an Olympic long distance runner, Olympic athlete of some sort in the track and field. This guy is some athlete, this Arnaldi. I mean, again, I don't want to bore you guys, but that Tiafoe match, the way he was running down balls in that match, I honestly, that was like as good as I've ever seen defense on a tennis court. In incredibly crucial stages. Tiafoe is a power player with a tremendous amount of power, and some of those balls, quite frankly, were winners, and Arnaldi was getting them back in play after having won the previous match, 7-6 in the fifth, and this was at 5-4, serving for the match, already 5 hours on the court. So, again, my respect for both of these guys is through the roof. The athleticism, the fighting spirit, it's just amazing. But again, like whoever comes through here, it just adds to the story. It's the Italian revenge. True Tennis Vibe is in the house with, no, that's T. Cody with the sinner emojis. We got to keep bringing those in, guys. I love it. The carrots and the fire. Ice, I love it. King Sinner, let's go, locked in. It's the Italian revenge, guys. It's the Italian revenge. Now, yesterday I saw, this is going to be good news for all the Alcaraz fans out there. Yesterday I saw Carlitos running and hitting some air strokes, shadow strokes on the court. So, Carlitos will be back, guys. He will be back in business. He will be back in business. Negative says, Nick, I appreciate the streams. Oh, my pleasure. It's fantastic to be here with you guys and watch these matches. There's Thomas Ekquist, Berrettini's coach, one of my favorite players from back in the day, number 4 in the world. Always was a fan of Swedish players. Was a Wilander fan. When I was growing up, Edberg fan. Always really enjoy watching Robin Söderling play. 30-15. Arnaldi is getting into this set. It looked very, very bad in the beginning with the 2 breaks, but he's getting into it now. It's that incredible backhand drop shot off a kick serve. 40-15. You know, I'll peel a few. Are you Swedish? That's awesome. Yeah, it's, I actually, together with a friend of mine, I have a German channel too. I don't really upload on it as frequently as I should, but we plan to do a video on explaining what happened to German tennis. And I always was going to draw the connection to Swedish tennis, which it's quite unbelievable, the story of Swedish tennis, where that's a fantastic hold from Arnaldi, and he's in this set now, big time. But the story of Swedish tennis is quite fascinating because it went from an absolute superpower of tennis in the top 3. The superpowers back in those days were USA, Australia, and Sweden. I mean, they had a tremendous amount of players. A lot of players that you probably don't know, but there was I don't want to list them now. I mean, I could, but there was Gunnarsson, there was Gustafsson, there was Yared, there was Nystrom, there was of course the big ones too, the Edberg, Wilander, but there were so many coming through. And then you had Söderling, who was an amazing player. But then, and I have a Swedish guy that I feature in my videos. We talked about that too. You literally had Joachim Johansson, who had to retire, unfortunately. He was a top 10 player, one of the biggest servers. But then, literally, except the 2 brothers, Eimer brothers, nobody. Literally, the next guy in the Davis Cup was ranked 700 or something like that. I'd never seen anything like it. And there was Andreas Vinciguerra had to play Davis Cup when he was ranked 1200 or something like that, because there was no players in Sweden. So to go from a superpower to barely having any players actually playing professional tennis in the whole country, it's one of the craziest downfalls. And no offense, I don't mean to insult you, P. Le Pew, but it's one of the craziest downfalls that I've ever seen. And Germany had its own downfall in tennis that I'm very, very familiar with because I lived in Germany. But nothing like Sweden. I'll never understand it. How can it go from that extreme to another extreme? I'll never understand it. And there's a big serve from Berrettini. He needs to hold right here, or this set can be a nightmare. Oh, people grew up in the US. Okay, gotcha. There's a big forehand, big serve, and big forehand combo from Berrettini. This time he goes down the tee and forehand inside out. Has the WTA had any Swedish stars? Yeah, there's one. No, not really top level, but there's the one that's engaged to Shapovalov. I forget her name. I don't know if she still plays, but she was top 100 or top 200. And other than that, I don't really know. Slice from Berrettini. That's a very important shot for him. Relatively speaking, compared to other players, his 2-handed backhand is a weakness. In my opinion, it's got too much spin on it, that thing. Doesn't penetrate enough. Generally, backhands on both tours are more flat. you know, there are guys on the ATP tour that have a lot of RPM, like Sinner, Rude, also FAA. But even when you look at the best backhands, you see a big discrepancy between forehand RPM and two-handed backhand RPM. So topspin on the backhand is the more, you know, I'll make a video about this. There's a guy that comments in every video, 10 videos in a row, make a video on backhand topspin. I will make a video on backhand topspin. I'll do it. But it's the more natural way to hit a two-handed backhand is with less RPM. So when you have somebody that has too much spin, it can be a great thing if it's Yannick Sinner, if you can combine power and spin. But what I see a lot at the junior level and at the amateur level is when the backhand gets too spinny because of the wrong grips or wrong swing path. Other things as well, when it gets too spinny, it loses penetration and it becomes a very weak shot. Now, I'm not saying that this is Berrettini, but a little bit of this is true. The backhand is just not powerful compared, relatively speaking, compared to other guys on the ATP tour, and that's why he slices so much. But here we go, break point for Arnaldi. Can you believe this? This is insane. This is crazy, guys. What a change of momentum here in the first set so quickly. No, Berrettini. No. This guy is an exceptional volleyer, but there he just completely gets stuck on the volley, doesn't move at all, and dumps a backhand volley into the net, and he loses his service 3-all. Take a look at this volley. No footwork. Zero footwork. Yeah, I moved a little bit as he was coming into the ball, but there's just no setup there. And it's 3-all. But, you know, there was a lot of discussion. Arnaldi had the most hours on court so far, and there was a lot of discussion how he's going to be like completely spent and not have anything left. I don't think so. I think this guy is the ultimate marathon man. This guy is one of the most exceptional athletes on tour. I mean, he's proven it here. This guy can run for days. That's a beautiful point for Berrettini right there. Arnaldi did not do enough with that little forehand angled drop shot. Hi again, Coach Nick. Hi, Yappa man. Have you seen the pre-match stretching for Arnaldi? More flexible than Prime Djokovic, amazing to watch. Saw a little bit of it, but yeah, just my gut feeling is this guy is just an insane athlete, and in a different way, like not like a Koboli who's very explosive, strong, fast. This guy is like more the endurance man. Like and like you say, very flexible and just gets the ball in play. And you know, it's just a great player. Are you always using shoes inside? Yes. Especially when I'm recorded. You don't want to see me over here in socks or barefoot. That'd be disgusting to look at for 4 hours. You better look at shoes. $15:30. Let's see if we get another break here. There's a slice miss from Berrettini. Arnaldi putting a lot of pressure into the backhand corner for, you know, to Berrettini, and it's 30-all. Berrettini has an excellent slice, but he didn't hit that one well. This could, you know, this was so painful for Tiafoe. If it, like, you know, he should have been here. And Tiafoe against Arnaldi, I don't know. who you picked there, but Tiafoe had that match at racket on his hands. 2-1 double break. Double break in that fourth set, 4-1. That's a painful loss. That's one that's going to stick in your head for a little while, especially in this context of, I mean, he not only can beat Berrettini, but he can also beat Tiafoe. He can. How do you see Menchik's chances? I've been reading about his weak return and poor lateral movement. Oh my God. It's that you got to stay off Reddit or the comment sections. Weak return. Are you people blind? Did I not watch yesterday? Take a look at the return game, at the 2-1 third set return game for Menchik, the 4-3 return game, and the 6-5 return game where Fonseca was serving to stay in the match. You take a look at those return games, and you tell me whether this guy is a weak return. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Arnaldi up 4-3. Guys, I'll be right back. We'll discuss the weak return, supposed weak return of Menchik in a second. I'll be right back. Four 3 Arnaldi, Berrettini serving, 4 consecutive games from Arnaldi, which is very interesting. But back to the supposed weak return from Menchik, I disagree 100%. Weak lateral movement, I think it's the contrary. I think he's an exceptional mover. In yesterday's match, what impressed me so much was his full sprint forward, running down drop shots, and the ability to have soft hands while sprinting very fast. Like, he hit so many of those little angled shots off drop shots from Fonseca. So that was super impressive. And what I look for lateral movement issues is when players have a hard time hitting an open stance backhand. Like, for example, I didn't really discuss it today, but forget about that. Like, let's keep it locked in on Menchik. But he has the ability to hit open stance from defensive positions. He has a very strong backhand, so I don't detect that many lateral movement problems on Menchik. What his issue is, in my eyes, is like the drop in focus, drop in intensity, where he'll all of a sudden start playing some weird service games, and he'll hit second serves as first serves, and just give service games away, like gift them away. He even did it yesterday, even though that could have been related to injury at 2-1 in the third. He was hitting second serve as a first serve on break point, and just gave that game away. So that I'll see that sometimes, and I even saw it against Sinner in Doha where he beat him. So that to me is like the only question mark. I don't understand that, because he's not the type of player that risks that much on the second serve, but he does sometimes for no reason whatsoever. And it's just that's the only question I have for Menchik. But other than that, he's very complete. He's got the full package. I mean, can you believe this match? Breakpoint Arnaldi to win the 5th consecutive game. The guy just locked in at love 3 and refusing to miss. Just refusing to miss any balls. Unbelievable. Berrettini just realized he is in hell. That's funny. That's an interesting way to look at it. I'm not saying that and I'm not, disagreeing with it. Tennis can be hell sometimes. It can be a nightmare. It saves break point on that one. He got 40 all. I think it's long. It's not another break point for Arnaldi. The one thing that I noticed with Arnaldi is he's got a lot of control with his ground strokes. Like the way he manipulates the ball to make it go in. Hawkeye, I didn't see that. That looked close. But the way he manipulates the ball, he has such good ball control and keeps the ball in place so well. It's incredible. It truly is a nightmare opponent. It's one that will make you play. He's gonna make balls, and it's obviously not all pure defense. The guy can play aggressive too, but he just runs so well and just makes shots. He's even gonna run that down. Look at that, and he almost makes it. Great point from Berrettini though. Another break point saved. Yes, I finally saw a little bit of the Sabalenka match. I'll have to watch more of it. Monique, I didn't see the Menchik interview. What did he say happened to him when he dropped his level? What did he say? I need to watch that interview. I didn't watch it yet. It's a nice serve from Berrettini. Add in. Nice wide serve. What I think of Walinska, I think it's such a... I love watching lefties, first and foremost. And I talked about it on my daily wrap-up or recap on day 1 or day 2. I talked about her taking out Zheng. And that match was really interesting. And I noticed that early she was playing higher. I don't find that Walinska plays it as high anymore. It could have to do with conditions. When it was hot in Paris, maybe a ball was bouncier. And people thought that she was doing moon balls to Zheng. And then I took a look at it because I was very interested to see moon balls. But they weren't really moon balls. They were just these high spin forehand shots. And she was driving Zheng crazy. And on top of that, she was like slicing her backhand with side spin. And I will say, though, that now that the weather has changed, the conditions have become heavier, she's not playing that high ball anymore, probably because she's not getting as much response from that. She's hitting more, definitely more lower balls with the forehand, but it's still very heavy. And continuing to do a lot of slices on the backhand and a lot of drop shots. And she's just a very difficult opponent to play. I would put her in a category of like Tatiana Maria, but a lot better than Tatiana Maria, I would say. I think Tatiana Maria has limitations with her game. Man, Chwalinska is just somebody you don't want to play against because you're going to be uncomfortable. And her rise in the rankings has been, I mean, it's like an incredible story. Outside the top 100 to 30 in the world. It's incredible. And she has a good chance to beat Schneider too. Another great lefty. So that would be such an interesting story if Chwalinska can make it from the qualies to the final. And I already know what's coming if that happens. I find that it's an amazing story, but I already know that in the comments it's going to be like, oh, look how horrible the WTA is. Somebody from the qualies made it to the final, and they're going to turn it into something bad. But I think it's an amazing story, and what I like to see is when players have different game styles, different quirks, it makes it more interesting. I don't want to see everyone play the same. So yeah, I'm super hyped about Chwalinska's game. Arnaldi is like just locking in this set, just locking in, refusing to miss, and just that was the perfect comment. Berrettini just realized he's in hell. Yeah, he's in a nightmare right now because this guy is not missing, running everything down and just making him hit shots. Breakpoint number 3. Big serve from Berrettini and a looper return from Arnaldi. There's a moon ball from Arnaldi that's overhit. And Berrettini saves another break point. If you can get out of this game, that'd be huge. 9-minute game so far. She's a friend of Świątek. Yeah, I saw them play doubles together in juniors. Australian Open final. Forehand drop shot on Aldi, not a good one. And Berrettini puts it away with the down the line forehand shot, and it's add in. You know, the fascinating thing about this year's Roland Garros tournament is that we'll have 2 first-time winners, both on a male and the female side, which I don't know, somebody can maybe look it up. When is the last time that has happened, or has that ever happened? A heavy forehand from Arnaldi. Incredible. Back to deuce. He is not letting up, Arnaldi. He's not letting this game go. Deuce number 6. We don't need to advertise for Starbucks. Put this down here. Second serve Berrettini. This opportunity right here for Arnaldi. And a forehand miss from Berrettini. Quite a few forehand mistakes since that 3-love lead from Berrettini. That's his best shot, you know, it's the serve and the forehand. 2021, Medvedev and Emma Raducanu. Thank you, Random Tennis Gal. That's a good info right there. I do remember that year. That was when Djokovic had the chance to get the calendar Grand Slam, and Medvedev got him in the US Open final. And I feel that was a significant match for Djokovic because, Rafa was still on tour then. He won the Roland Garros the next year. And, historically, other than maybe Australian Open, like the crowd was often against Novak, right? They were for Roger, they were for Rafa. And I do think that even though Novak was motivated by this, I do think he suffered by this as well. When who wouldn't? Who doesn't like the crowd support, right? But I remember in that match, the crowd started supporting Novak. It moved him to tears, actually. Remember that? And I feel that that's an additional motivator for Novak to keep going, even past winning that Olympic gold, because ever since that match, with the exception maybe of Roland Garros, where he faced Rafa, he's been having crowd support, even when he plays Alcaraz and Sinner, surprisingly so. So Novak has received crowd support. So from being against him, now they're for him, and I do think that's a motivator for Novak to keep going. Another break point for Arnaldi, and another break point saved by Berrettini, deuce number 8. So, yeah, so much for that 2021 US Open final. Big serve by Berrettini, and game point. $15-minute game. Arnaldi will not let go of this game. This is absolutely insane. Can you imagine if this just keeps going and it's like a 7-hour match? And Arnaldi is still fresh 7 hours in? Arnaldi, the ultimate marathon man, not showing any signs of fatigue whatsoever. Also, like his body language and his face, deep in that Tiafoe match, he looked as fresh as a daisy to me. And Tiafoe looked absolutely exhausted. There's a slice miss from Arnaldi, add in. Enquist trying to pump Berrettini up to get out of this game finally. Even at Wimbledon, people were pro Novak. Yeah, pretty much anywhere he plays. Anywhere he plays, and even against Sinner and Alcaraz, which is surprising. People were for Novak. Remember that match, Indian Wells, Draper? Like anywhere he goes, people are pro Novak, and that must be nice for him to experience that. And it's, I think, an additional motivator why he's still playing. He's just having fun. He's still capable of winning matches, going deep. And there's a hold from Berrettini. 4-all. Speaking of Novak, I remember that one match from Berrettini against Novak. I thought that was an excellent chance for Berrettini to take Novak out. I remember Novak was screaming at the top of his lungs after beating Berrettini in that one. It was during COVID. There was nobody in the stands. I'm going to try to look up when that was. That might have been the last time Berrettini played Roland Garros. Let me try to look it up. Let me try to look that up. So it was maybe 21. I remember that match. Yeah, it was 21. Remember he had a walkover over Federer in the fourth round. That's where Federer played. He played Roland Garros, but then pulled out. He actually received quite a bit of heat for that, Federer. People were saying like, if you weren't 100% healthy, why did you even play? But Berrettini lost the first set 6-3, second set 6-2, but then won the third 7-6 and lost the fourth 7-5. And again, I remember Novak was screaming at the top of his lungs after winning that. And if you remember, Novak beat Nadal in the semis that year and beat Tsitsipas in the final. And then Nadal got Novak the next year. So Berrettini, highly capable of doing big things. And I'm talking really big things, because that same year, Berrettini won Queens, beat Norrie in the final, and then lost in the Wimbledon final to Novak. Won the first set 7-6, and then it was 4-4 and 3 for Novak. So that year got him up to like 6 in the world, I think. He ended the year 7, but career high was 6. So we're talking about a big-time player here. Absolute big-time player, Berrettini. Absolute big-time player. And I think he's still got a lot of years left, Berrettini. If you can just stay healthy, that's all it requires. Stay healthy. Ace from Arnaldi, 40-15. He can still be dangerous. One of the best grass court players on tour still. I mean, he just knows how to play on grass. Yeah, I've talked about this a lot, where Arnaldi did not win a match the whole year, but he is dealing with a foot problem, and then he injured his foot on a different place, not where he was chronically injured, and that caused him further problems. Berrettini goes for the return blast way outside the singles lines, and Arnaldi holds to 15, 5-4. Hypertension says Berrettini is going to run out of gas here. Arnaldi has a great engine. He needs to perform like he did with Big Foe to win this match. I'm tend to agree with you there. I think Arnaldi is not showing any signs of being out of gas. I think this guy can go forever. I don't know. I don't understand how, but I just feel that he's not anywhere near tired. This guy can go forever. And Berrettini, I mean, he spent a lot of time on the court, Berrettini, and some really, really brutal matches, like that 5-hour and 13 minute match against Comesana 7-6 in the fifth, right? 15-13 tiebreak. Just brutal, absolutely brutal. So we'll see. It's just weird how this thing flipped in this first set. It was double break Berrettini. Anna didn't know I was streaming this one. Nice surprise. Yeah, I was supposed to go on a court today actually, but something that was scheduled a while back. But we got rained out, so I decided to do this one too. Oh, I remember that match. The Davis Cup match between McEnroe and Wielander in Hartford, Connecticut, I think. Was it? And you notice that third set was 15-17? And it was a 5-set match. That was before they played tiebreaks. Danger zone for Berrettini right here. That curler forehand from Arnaldi reminds me a little bit of Horar's forehand, actually. He's able to hit a cross court, but with like that trajectory where the ball just keeps going towards the left from the perspective of Arnaldi. Just keeps going that way and pulls the other guy off the court. That forehand is very, very dangerous. And Berrettini's got to be careful. He's got to make first serves right here. There, he dumps the forehand to the net. He's definitely lost the rhythm on his forehand a little bit, and he's doing a weird movement with his hip there. He tested something. Let's hope that Berrettini is feeling 100%. I'm hypersensitive to players like showing signs of like pain and stuff. I always fall for Sinner. He started limping around. I was like, oh no, Yannick, there's something wrong with Yannick, but then it turns out he's okay. So let's hope Berrettini is okay too. The big serve right there, ace down to T. 15-30. Yeah, Anna, it's a nice story about Hwalinska, especially with Iga losing, you know, and Hurkacz struggling right now. Hurkacz was on the top of the game and he's having a hard time with injuries and trying to find his best form again. So it's nice to see. I'll be honest, I never seen Hwalinska play prior to this tournament. It's nice to see her this incredible jump in the rankings. 30 in the world now. Going to be seeded at Wimbledon. That's incredible feel from Berrettini there. What a rally. Great forehands from Arnaldi, like really nice forehand rips, just spreading the ball. And then he comes into the net. Not a bad volley, but this Berrettini has such good hands. The way he measured that lob and just had like soft hands on that lob, it was an incredible feel. It's an absolute perfect lob there over the backhand side of Arnaldi. That's 40-30. This Arnaldi just does not let go of games though. He doesn't concede games. This is a nightmare opponent when he plays like this. He just won't give you anything. You think you get like a loose ball error or get a free point here and there? No, not with Arnaldi. It's going to make you work for every single point. Back to deuce. Martin Highland, have you talked about Serena's return? Yeah, a little bit on the live streams. I talked about it a couple times. I haven't talked about it in video yet. I feel like it's like I'm talking about Roland Garros. Like let's save that for like a Monday morning rant or something. Or we'll talk about it when it actually happens. There's plenty of time to talk about that. The big forehand from Berrettini right there. Add in. That's a big forehand. It's nice footwork too. You see that late setup there. Not setting the feet too early. Keep setting up so it's a dynamic setup inside the actual stroke. Slice backhand, back and forth. Another big forehand from Berrettini. There's a tough hold from Berrettini. That's a really tough hold there. You have to work for it. What a first set, huh? Very challenging, physically demanding first set so far. It's been an hour and a 5 already. We're at 5 all. It's going to be 5 hours, guys. Crazy. Arnaldi playing with a rare racket on tour. I didn't see too many guys using the head radical. At least I think that's what that is. Of course, probably pro stock. Maybe he's playing with something else. I don't know. Either way, it's whether he's playing with it or endorsing it. It's not a common racket. The Ivo Karlovic used to play with that. Sloane Stephens used to play with that. I think Sloane Stephens switched to the Technofiber Fire. Love 15. Some big forehands from Berrettini. The forehand starting to click. An important stage has started to click again. That's right. Fritz uses the head radical too. How can I forget that? That's right. That's right. Yevon's in the house. I didn't know you used the radical. Oh, you didn't use it. It used to be the more popular one, you said. Okay, gotcha. Because you play with the blade. I think it was very popular when Agassi endorsed it. Remember, was it Agassi that endorsed the radical? That was the height of the radical. Kobole is also radical. That's right. Okay, maybe I'm not on top of my game with the equipment. So we got Fritz, we got Kobole. Who else? Arnaldi with a nice leave there. Extreme MP, the avocado. It's nice. Yeah, I've seen that one. That's a nice looking racket. Many Italian players are playing radical. Of course, Andy Murray played with a radical too, but I thought there was something different though. It was endorsed. Got to check Tennis Nerd for that. Didn't he play with a Prestige? I thought Murray played with Prestige, and it was painted as a radical. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not. Borges also plays a radical. Okay, it's not. To take my statement away. Okay, it's not a rare racket on tour. There's quite a few players that use it, and of course, some really good players like Fritz and Kobole. Maybe we shouldn't talk rackets. I tried that racket actually, the radical. It's not bad, but it's like a little bit difficult to use. It's just a demanding racket. I tried the Agassi one for a while. It was like a weird gray one. And when I tried to play with, and it wasn't too bad, but again, it's a more demanding frame, not as powerful as the rackets that I usually play with. But that's probably like the head racket that I can, the only head racket I could play with. The other ones are even worse for me. Definitely the prestige is awful for me. I don't like the prestige at all. Hold from Arnaldi 6-5. Berrettini again serving to stay in the set. Trying out the 99 head radical S as a base frame and customizing it with a leather grip and weight and a handle. Nice. Nice. Interesting. Rackets are interesting. Any of you guys excited about the new Wilson racket? What is it called? The Python or whatever, the black one? That racket's received a lot of hype. And, you know, supposedly players have switched to it, like Korda and Hachanov and who else? Can't think of it now, but a lot of people are excited about that one. I think it's supposed to be like maybe like a Babolat Pure Arrow type of racket or something like that. Now, the racket that Berrettini either plays with or endorses, that one would be a racket I could never play with. That's the Extreme, right? That's the Richard Gasquet racket. That's a tough one for me. This guy gets everything back. One overhead got it back. Second one almost got it back. You see, you have to hit so many winners against Arnaldi. It's crazy. Check some real quick. Nice forehand there from Arnaldi. Hits that forehand cross court so well. Berrettini, however, producing some errors on that forehand side in this set. 15-all. To me, Arnaldi is like a guy, like he moves like a guy that should be like, I don't know, 5'10 or 5'11. Like he's like that type of defender, but he happens to be 6'1. It's incredible. The type of the defense that he plays is incredible. He's 15-30. But look at how many like balls he gets back in play. It's crazy. Just keep giving Berrettini an extra shot to hit, and you get rewarded for that type of play, for this type of fighting. That's a nice serve from Berrettini there. It's like a T serve off a kick toss. 30-all. No, not again. Yeah, the forehand's like falling apart a little bit at different stages of this first set. It's cost him a lot. It's a forehand net error again from Berrettini, and here's set point for Arnaldi, 30-40. Set point for Arnaldi. Arnaldi reminds me of Navone. Yeah, I'm telling you, like Navone is the type of guy that plays like this. You know, that type of build and all that. I don't even see him on camera. He still gets these things back in play, but misses it. I'm not seeing Arnaldi. You guys seeing Arnaldi? He's like in the back fence. Unreal. Berrettini saves set point. Back to deuce. And look at him. He looks so fresh. I've not seen this guy out of breath one single time this tournament. Berrettini is in hell. It was even funnier because initially the comment was Berrettini now realizes that he is in hell. And this was written at 3-1 or something like that in the first set. Beautiful point there from Berrettini. Puts away the overhead. Add in. But Berrettini also looking good though. I don't think Berrettini is, to me, looking necessarily out of it physically. I feel like he's got a lot of room left too, Okay, here we go. Hold on a second. 1 second, guys. 1 second. This is another nice shot from Arnaldi to the feet of Berrettini. Hold on 1 second here. You don't want the audio of the thing to come through the live stream. Hold on. I'll go forward here. All the way live. Hold on, jump to live. Hold on a second there. Okay, we're good. Deuce. Here's a second set point for Arnaldi. Another forehand error from Berrettini. Imagine if this goes 5 hours. They've been playing now this first set for 1 hour and 16 minutes. Yeah, there it is. There's the clock. 1 hour and 15. Absolutely insane. Second serve from Berrettini. If this was Coboli, I would have now thought maybe he's going to run around and blast the forehand, but Arnaldi is just going to loop the return back. Watch this. He'll loop it back and he's going to run all day. And he forces the error out of Berrettini. Another forehand error. The forehand has been the culprit for Berrettini in this first set. It's he produced a lot of errors on that side. And it was so weird that beginning of this set. 2 breaks. But then Arnaldi locked in, refused to miss, started running all over the place, and just made Berrettini hit the extra shots. And Berrettini self-destructed, Hard Candy says, you picked the perfect match. You might be here for 5 hours. You know what? It's okay. It's okay. If it goes 5 hours, we'll be here. Just to make sure we got everything charged up over here, battery-wise. So we'll take a little break here, and I'll see you guys soon, okay? You know, Berrettini is a fighter, though. He's far from done here. But what do you guys think would be the more exciting semifinal? Berrettini against Cobolli or Arnaldi against Cobolli? I think both have a lot of arguments going for it. I think there would be an absolute battle, Arnaldi Cobolli, in the semis. I can just envision like Cobolli blasting forehands and Arnaldi just covering everything and making them play. The entire court would be used, like, east, west, north, south. There's going to be a lot of running. That's going to be a fun match to watch. And Berrettini Cobolli, just the history of it, it's just a beautiful story. The Cobolli's dad used to coach Berrettini and two guys from Rome in the semifinals of Roland Garros. So I think it can be very interesting. Yeah, Arnaldi Cobolli would be incredible. That would be a good match to watch. All right, second set, Arnaldi serving first. That's a good way to start a set. Nice return there off the backhand. Inside in, right on the line, love 15. Love 30. If I'm still looking for a sign of, physical problems for Arnaldi, not seen it yet. This guy's looking fresh. Will it ever happen? I mean, he's human after all. If this keeps going like this, it's been an hour and 24 already. Maybe it'll show up. I doubt it though. Time on court, Arnaldi, 19 hours. 19 hours. 19 hours of tennis. Can you believe that? That's crazy. Love 30 to 40-30. Nice shot from Berrettini there. Good return too. Kick and volley has not been a good strategy by Arnaldi. Roof is a disadvantage for Berrettini, coach, from Dynasty Warrior Z. Let me think about that. The roof for Berrettini. Look, it's obvious that Berrettini has like a lot of kick on his serve, and he's got a very heavy forehand. So you would think that the high bouncing clay would be benefit for him. But just think of his Wimbledon skills though, and his grass skills. I mean, he won Queens too. So this guy can play with low bounces really well. He's got an exceptional slice backhand, and the serve is quite versatile. The only thing where I think would be more difficult against Arnaldi is when the roof closes, the conditions are slower, and this guy is more difficult to put away. He can get more balls back in play. So it's probably worse to play Arnaldi in these conditions, but I don't think that these conditions necessarily are bad for Berrettini. I think he's quite versatile in that regard. But yeah, play a guy like this that gets everything back in play and can run for days. You want to play this guy on a faster court. Got to be careful with that forehand. That's been the culprit so far, the forehand for Berrettini. Big time. The forehand has let him down a little bit. Now the forehand error, 15-all. It's a nice forehand there from Berrettini. Inside out, now into the backhand of Arnaldi, but there's that feel from Berrettini. This guy has has such soft hands, like buttery soft hands. This guy, he controls the ball so well, can do to the ball what he wants at will, like can manipulate the ball so well. That's part of the reason why he's so good on grass, because feel pays off big time on grass. when you see Berrettini in slow-mo doing like, let's say a forehand passing shot down the line or a lob or a volley, it's just the racket movements are so smooth. And speaking of which, there's another smooth shot, a little forehand cross-court dropper. 40-15. We're going to keep an eye on the clock here. It's an hour and 30 so far. And we're in the second game of the second set. That's crazy. Dynasty Warrior says, I was mainly speaking about this particular matchup. Yeah. I think you're right when you say it's a disadvantage for Berrettini. I think so. By the way, guys, a lot of you guys are, watching in real time, and I'm here delayed, coming through you delayed. There's a couple of different things at play here. And it's kind of interesting, actually. It's just good. It's like you drive yourself crazy with it, but obviously I'm watching it live, right? I'm not delayed or anything like that. But the way this is coming through on YouTube, there's a latency there, right? And there's a break point for Arnaldi. Down the line, 2 and a backhand pass, open stance. Very, very interesting shot. Seen a lot of those against Tiafoe, this particular shot right here. What a mover this guy is. Incredible. But anyway, this latency thing is it's something that I'm going to work on trying to fix it, but there's limitations to it, of course. Another forehand error from Berrettini, and this match could get away from him real quick. 2-0 Arnaldi. Even sometimes in the chat, that's where it gets very confusing. I try to hear me out. Still trying to figure out these lives. In a live sporting event, you guys would put in something that hasn't happened yet on my stream, and go figure that out. So I guess there's no latency in the chat, it's direct, but the picture is coming through later. Don't get me started on this. So it's like drive yourself crazy with it. But in any case, like sometimes you guys will put something in the chat that I haven't seen yet, but I'm watching it live. So, and my stuff is coming through like 20 seconds later. So I'm trying to get on the bottom of this and try to optimize as much as possible. I haven't had time to do it though. I'll try to do it before the women's semifinal tomorrow and try to change a few settings. Try to change a few settings so it's better. And one more thing I want to add though about Arnaldi, just so I don't come across saying the wrong thing, because I've been praising his endurance and his running abilities, defensive abilities. It's a nice forehand for Berrettini there. But this guy is not the defensive player by any means. I'm just saying he plays defense well. His forehand is very aggressive. He's got an incredible forehand. It's very heavy, and he can make pressure with that shot. He's got pretty good serve too. So it's not like a pure, defensive player. This guy can also put pressure on you. Thank you, Ismail. I appreciate it. Yeah, latency is normal, but there's adjustments you can do. Adjustments you can do in this software that I'm using for live streaming to make the latency better. But this software is so complex. I'm still trying to figure out the settings and all that. 30-15. Double fault from Arnaldi, 30 all. Two Roman gladiators. Well, I've learned today that actually Arnaldi is from San Remo, or close to San Remo, or something like that, and it's Berrettini and Caboli who are the Roman gladiators. So forehand return error from Berrettini, 40-30. For sure, the forehand has been the thing that's let him down in this match. Berrettini, I'm talking about. There's a backhand error from Arnaldi. Dude, this particular game is the level has dropped a little bit. Both guys delivering some unforced errors in this one. Dynasty Warrior says, I cannot imagine Arnaldi's match against Tiafoe remains without consequence. Berrettini has to keep pushing him. Maybe Arnaldi will have a drop of energy and momentum. Can maybe be a shift. Yeah, you would think so, right? Like, I mean, Arnaldi, after all, is not a robot. I mean, that not only that match, but the one prior to that was 7-6 in the fifth. So he can't keep going like this forever, you would think. So that makes sense that Berrettini, even if he goes down 2-0, you know, he still will have that, hopefully in the back of his mind, that Arnaldi eventually might actually start feeling it physically. But as I've said, I'm not seeing any signs in his body language of Arnaldi, in his facial expression, in his play, that there are any physical problems. I'm not seeing any of it. That's a beautiful forehand there from Berrettini and his break point. Enquist is pumped about that one. Second serve. Random tennis gal is going to bed. Okay, have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll cover both of the women's semifinal matches. Moon balls from Arnaldi. I love it. But he misses the moon ball, and it's break for Berrettini. Arnaldi is going to be kicking himself for this game. This was a poor game. And, you know, Berrettini was given errors in this game. This was a poor game from Arnaldi. There was a lot of unforced errors here. And when you go up a break and then you don't back the break up, that's mentally, you should punish yourself for that, because that's something that you have to consolidate as a player. It's the worst thing that can happen to you. You work so hard to get the break, you get it, and then only to drop your serve right away. That's definitely something to learn from, and to you know, the next time you're in that position, to take care of these points a little bit better, and you know, have the right intensity, have the right energy, and not give unforced errors to the opponent. You know. Use a Nordic IPTV package. Sometimes I'm ahead of you and sometimes behind. I click pause on my stream. Yeah, Panura, I mean, it's all good. Like, I don't even know how people consume this. Like, maybe some people are just like in the chat commenting back and forth and listening to it's all good. Like, you know, like I said before, it's cool to just have this option to have a place where you can, you know, ride back and forth with other tennis fans during a match. I think it's fun, and it's going to be especially fun when we get to the big matches, the semifinals, the finals. That's where it's going to be a blast. Looking forward to that. Thank you, Dynasty Warrior Z. I appreciate you watching my videos. Big appreciations. Yeah, this game from Arnaldi, I think he's kicking himself right now on the bench. could be 3-0 right now. It's an hour and 41, and we're 2-1 in the second set. Berrettini's ankles can't take this running, says P. Le Pew. Well, I know he's wearing those ankle braces. Has Berrettini had injuries on the ankles? I know he had an ab problem that was 2022 maybe, or 2024. Yeah, 2000, because 2023 or 24, he went on a rampage, Berrettini, and won all those clay tournaments after Wimbledon. He won Kitzbühel and Gstaad. And maybe he won something else. I'm going to look at it. It would be interesting to see. And then he hurt his ab and then re-hurt his ab. But was there ankle problems before that? It'd be interesting to find out. Let's take a quick look at Berrettini's results. And then it'll be interesting to see. 2023. When did he go on that rampage after Wimbledon? It was 24. Okay, yeah, 24. He won. I'll tell you exactly what he won. Because he ended the year 34, but he was outside the top 100. I remember that. Oh, yes, look at this. He lost to Sinner in Wimbledon. 7-6, 7-6, 2-6, 7-6 for Sinner. So super tight match. In 24. And then he won Gstaad. And he won Kitzbühel. Back to back. And I think it's after this where he hurt himself. He hurt himself after this because in 25, he dropped to 56. But there was something big, a big injury earlier than that, where he dropped out of the top 100. I think I think it was 23. I don't know. Medical timeout for who? What is showing? Does he hurt himself? Yeah, he's doing the same move he did about an hour ago in the first set. He's doing like this thing with this is to me a hip. This is a hip movement. Maybe his hip hurts. And look at Arnaldi. This guy can go forever. Nothing wrong with Arnaldi. Oh, ankle injury at the US Open. Okay. Ankles are an issue. That makes sense. Yeah. That's brutal. Ankle is the worst. Ankle braces are preventative like Sinners. Yes, for sure. They're preventative for sure. But just from my experience, once you start wearing those, though, you're done. You got to wear them for the rest of your career, because you lose those little muscles down in the ankle. So once you start wearing them, you got to stick to wearing them, or you're going to be rolling your ankle all the time. Medical timeout, Matteo Berrettini. Let's hope he's okay. We don't need another Berrettini injury because I think he can do damage on grass. He's definitely dangerous on grass. Uh-oh, Berrettini is touching something. I mean, Arnaldi is touching his shins. Berrettini went off the court, so I'm pretty sure it was hip, guys. Because for hip, I don't know, maybe he took his shorts off or whatever, I don't know. But it's weird that a man goes off the court, so it's probably hip. You know? Let's hope he's okay. Hour and 46. We're at 2-1 in the second set. Good, my schedule is cleared for today. It's pouring outside. I got nowhere to be. I'll be here for another 4 hours. If it's hip, I mean, it could be nothing on the hip, or maybe it's not even the hip. Don't ask me. I have no idea. I'm just making guesses. But the hip, I mean, there's so many horrendous injuries to choose from. But in my opinion, the hip is one of the worst. One of the worst. That's what did Guga in. That did was it Bob Bryan? That did Bob Bryan in, the lefty. That's a horrible one to have, hip problem. Arnaldi missing a forehand there. Very uncharacteristic mistake from Arnaldi. Very consistent player. Andy Murray hip replacement. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yes. Okay, that's horrible. And then what I've learned recently, because I did a video on the Alcaraz wrist injury with Dr. Adrian, and we talked afterwards for a while about the wrist, and he was showing me like stuff, sharing his screen, and the wrist is an absolute nightmare. Like you don't want to have a like torn tendons in the wrist. That's a career ender right there, the wrist. And of course, my biggest nightmare, the knee. That's another nightmare. Forget it. Forget it. The knee is an absolute nightmare. And then what Holger Rune had, Achilles. That's another brutal one. And you guys might not know that Iga's coach, Francisco Roig, was playing a mini tennis game with Iga. This was prior to the clay court season, or in the beginning of the clay court season. He was playing a mini tennis game with her and did a split step and tore his Achilles. And I think Iga flew him out to Poland and paid for his surgery. So that is an absolute nightmare too. So, let's hope nothing wrong with Berrettini. He can keep playing here, and more importantly, keep playing after this tournament, because again, his ranking is going to be so good. 50. He can get into any tournament and can build upon that. And let's also hope that Arnaldi's foot is okay. It seems to be okay. I mean, so like he couldn't be running better than he is. So I think it's feeling better. There's that open stance backhand from Arnaldi, backhand winner, 15-love. Carpet courts are the worst for the knee. I got some problems in my knee tendon because of carpet courts. Actually, carpet courts are a little bit softer, so they feel good on the body. But, in Germany, when I played on carpet, you have to play with special shoes that have no, like, sole. The sole is completely flat, and then you can actually slide a little bit on there. Because if you play with regular shoes on the carpet, you will get stuck too much. And what happened to me when I was 16, I played a tournament in Germany, and I still remember this. I was the first set tiebreak. I was up 2. I was about to win the tiebreak. I don't know, the score was like 5-2 or something like that. The guy comes in and I hit a backhand passing shot, open stance, and I twist my entire body around my left knee. And my left knee was never right after that. I could play, of course, it was fine. And I went to many doctors. It was fine. But then it completely went out on me maybe 2016. So I kept playing tournaments when I moved to Florida. And since then, that was the last time I could play tennis for real, 2016. After that, it's never been right. And now when I play, I'm so careful not to like make certain movements with my knee. I'm very careful, and it hurts on a daily basis. So yeah, the knee is a nightmare. And playing on carpet did it for me, but I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't, unless you're playing with the wrong shoes or you're unlucky like me and get stuck on the carpet. Listen, any surface can be terrible. A lot of people, I know people that refuse to play on hard court. I've had many people like want to take lessons. They're like, I cannot play on hard court. My body can't handle it. I can only play on clay. But people don't realize that on clay, I've seen more people get hurt on clay than on hard court. Like the foot gets stuck on a line, or they step into a hole, roll their ankle, they slide and they pull their muscle. I've seen more people get injured on clay than on hard court. But I guess like long-term wear and tear, hard court is worse, probably, but any surface in tennis can be bad. Tennis is a tough game. 3-2 Arnaldi, second set, first set 7-5 Arnaldi. We're at almost 2 hours, 1 hour 53. Keydon says, can you make a video with the doctor how to protect the knee and make it bulletproof for tennis, please? I'll try, but the videos with the doctor are performing so badly, and we've did so many of them, we can't do too many. It's like it's just a waste of time. Nobody kind of care. Everybody seems to care, but then nobody cares because I guess it's a very saturated field, tennis elbow. And I did it more for that doctor than for myself because I already had tennis elbow content that did well, like from 5 years ago. So there was really no reason to redo tennis elbow videos. But I guess the different twist on the topic was having a doctor of physical therapy that works daily with people that have tennis related issues. So I thought that would be an interesting twist to the thing. But so for those reasons, I covered a lot of these subjects already, and making extra content on top of that, it's unlikely to perform well. So I'm probably going to do a couple more videos here and there with them, but not like another series. I'm going to do a series on the knee and the wrist. It's just people don't care enough. And there's so many other places where you can get info on the internet about medical things, So it's like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to do too much down the road. Here's 15:30, mini window for Arnaldi. We'll go up a break again. Misses a forehand, and he's very far back behind the baseline, was potentially a little too far away from the ball. 30 all. I think the MTO has been a big problem for Arnaldi. He'll have seized up from being stationary for the past 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe. He was over there trying to move around and stuff, but yeah, it's not good to stop like that in a match. It's very bad. I agree with you 100%. And there's a very deep return from Arnaldi, and Berrettini is shaking his head, misses a forehand. It's break point, 30-40. Big serve from Berrettini. Arnaldi chips, and another forehand error from Berrettini. There's something wrong with Berrettini's body on the forehands. It's not normal for him to miss this many forehands. And there was a weird look from Berrettini to to his coaches, there's something hurting and it's affecting his forehand. I think it's something in the hip. And you guys know that rotation is so important on the forehand, way more than the backhand, way more. And when you have problems with rotation, it makes the forehand very difficult to execute. Amir, that's such a great question. Let's wait for the changeover. I'll talk about it again, but I'm not going to have an answer for you. But I'll talk about it again. Amir, if I forget, remind me. But that's a great question. Berrettini doesn't look right, guys. I don't know if Berrettini finishes this match, to be honest. Some weird movements. I think he's in some pain. Arnaldi, the new Djokovic. You know what, Yevon? There's some similarities. This guy can go forever. I do see some similarities in the flexibility of Arnaldi. Maybe that's the comparison to Djokovic you could make. This guy seems very flexible. He's a good improviser too. On the line, that's a good forehand from Arnaldi. 30 love. This rally, though, Berrettini seemed okay, but he's grimacing there. Something's going on with him. Something's going on. A beautiful point from Arnaldi. Down the line backhand and then inside out with the forehand, 40 love. There you go. Enquist is mimicking stop, quit. What a bummer. That's a bummer right there. But that's, there's this many hours on the court. It's worse when you're older, of course. And if you're prone to injury anyway, yeah, he's done. Berrettini is done. Berrettini is done. Berrettini is done. This is a horrible bummer. This is terrible. This is horrible. But something's got to give, right? If you're prone to injuries, you're out there for 6 hours on the court or 5 hours 13 and you're in the quarters. And this match is brutal, by the way. It's 2 hours. I think he's going to have to call it. What is he going to do? He can't keep going. Because the coach, rightfully so, is thinking of the future. He's ranked 50 now after this. He's got the grass court season. Don't make it worse by keep playing if something hurts. Because with the physical limitation, you have 0 chance to beat Arnaldi. 0.0 chance. So that I agree with Enquist. Just quit. Stop. There's something with the hip or something. I don't know. But he's not retired yet. What a nightmare. Yeah. He doesn't want to pull the plug. This guy is a great fighter, a great champion. There's a lot of pride with these players. They want to keep going. They don't want to quit. They want to fight till the bitter end. Amir, I'll discuss it when it's not the right time to go into that right now. and Berrettini, rightfully so, quits. It's a smart decision. Probably should have quit like a half an hour ago, to be honest with you. But I understand he wants to give it a chance, and he wants to make sure he tried his absolute best in this one, but this is just brutal. But guys, you know what? It's amazing that this is the only time we've seen this. Think about it. How many matches did we see going deep in the fifth? 5 hours? And I don't remember anybody pulling out. Everybody was going all the way to the bitter end. So this is really the first time we've seen this, because we've seen guys have consecutive 5-set matches, and a lot of them just keep going, including Berrettini. He beat Cerundolo after that 5-hour and 13-minute match. So this is just normally what's going to happen when you play tennis like this. It's not normal to play for 6 hours. He had a phenomenal Roland Garros tournament, Monique, yes. And the future is looking bright, actually. Ranked 50 in the world now. And grass is coming up, so hopefully this is nothing. It's not something serious. This can heal quick, whatever it is. I'm sure he probably wanted to play Stuttgart. I think he won that tournament in Stuttgart, didn't he? I'm not going to look it up now, but I think he did well that tournament in Stuttgart on grass. Probably not going to be able to play that one, but maybe there's enough time for this to be okay for Wimbledon. And even if Wimbledon doesn't work out, he can play the US Open and he'll be back. But just a bummer to see him pull out. But it's Pile Pew, good call by Enquist. It's a fantastic call by Enquist. I think it's the right call. It's the correct call. You gotta. It's health. Health first. Health first. If this is your last match ever in your life and you're retiring, okay, blow your body out and go all the way, whatever. But he's got many, many years ahead, Berrettini. He's like only 30. Look at Djokovic. Djokovic's almost 40. So he's got many years left. And just got to take care of his body, and hopefully it's going to be okay. But let's just one more word on Arnaldi. Like, this guy is something else. I mean, like I said before, he's not a defensive player. But boy, can he play defense. I mean, even in this match, it's incredible. Like, from positions in the court where you can't even see him, like camera doesn't capture his defense. That's how insane the defense is. Like, this guy is off cam, retrieving overheads and like playing, just getting everything back in play. It's quite insane. But he also knows how to play offense. The forehand is spectacular. He's got that backhand down the line. He's got a pretty good serve. Can come to the net and finish points off at the net. It's just a great player. And that match with Cobolli now will be a battle. I think, this 2 hours was a walk in a park for Arnaldi. Nothing. This guy can be out there for 6 hours. So I think he's going to be ready for Cobolli, and it's going to be an absolute battle, that match. Personally, I'll be honest, I would have loved to see Berrettini play Cobolli just for the storylines of that thing. But Arnaldi Cobolli is going to be incredible too. It's the Italian revenge, guys. The Italian revenge for Sinner. And it's going to be an Italian in the final with a great chance to win the whole thing. How about Arnaldi winning Roland Garros? How about that? Have you thought of that? I'm sure you haven't. But it's not out of the range of possibilities. It could happen. This guy has qualities that are incredibly important on clay. The fighting spirit, keeping the ball alive. Also having versatility. So you don't know what can happen. Maybe Cobolli's nerves will play a factor in that semi. Maybe if Zverev comes through, maybe his nerves will play a factor in the final. I don't think it's the craziest thought that to think that Arnaldi can win the whole thing. Why not? You can make an argument for Cobolli. You can make an argument for Menchik. You can make an argument for Zverev. and we're in for some fun times, guys. So let me finish off with this question here. This is a question that I've received so many times. Where is it? Okay, Nick, I know you've spoken about this subject. Why do you reckon there are so many great Southern European male players and great Eastern European female players, but not so much vice versa at the moment? I have no clue. But the Eastern European woman thing, it was initially the question that I spent quite a bit of time like talking to a lot of my friends, former players, coaches, and the question was, it's not really accurate now because there's quite a few Russian male players that are ranked high. You got Medvedev, Rublev, Khachanov. So that's not really accurate, but let's say like maybe 10 years ago or so, I was discussing this, and back then it was not that many male players at the top, Russian or Eastern European. I would say Russian more specifically, but at that time was Russia had like the most in the top 100 or the second most. I think USA always has the most women, so I think it was the second most players in the WTA top 100 was Russians, and they literally had not that many in the men, maybe one or two or something like that back then. And I was asking the question, why is this? Why? What's the reason? Why female so good, male not so good? And I couldn't get the answer to that. So it's a super complex to explain, and I don't think there's really an explanation. You know, why are there so many great female players from Eastern Europe? I don't know. I really don't know. I will continue to think about it and try to provide some answers, but right now I'm kind of I don't really have any for you. And it's not the ones the ones that you're thinking of, like oh, they're all tall, and you know, it's all about the you know, the whatever, the coaching or how they grow up. It doesn't really add up. It doesn't add up. It's not really. If you also, when you think about like the ones that move to the U.S. or move to other European countries and they still do well, I don't know. If you guys have any ideas, you can email me and we'll discuss it in the email. And I'll put it all together and maybe find some answers to the whole thing. But it is for sure interesting. Now, as far as Southern Europe, look, Italy, there is a few clues there. I think the number one thing in Italy was the tennis federation did a great job. If I could one time figure out how to work the iPhone, don't get me started. Okay, whatever. What they did really well was have like a lot of tournaments in Italy. It's not only like the ATP tournaments, it's all across the board. They have the ATP finals, they have Davis Cup, they have Billie Jean King Cup. I don't know if they have it still. I don't know. They used to have it. They have a lot of tournaments, WTA 250s, ATP 250s. They have, of course, Rome, you know. It's a WTA 1000 and ATP 1000. Then on top of that, they have tons of challengers, tons of futures. So if you're an Italian player, you have the opportunity to play a lot of tournaments there. And I heard that the Italian league too is quite strong. So there's a lot of options, you know, opportunities. There's great infrastructure there to play a lot of high-level tennis, and I think that pays dividends. And the Italian Tennis Federation invested a lot of money into this, and they reap benefits from it. Now, what happens when you have one great player is that a couple of great players is that they push the other players. The way it works is like there's players that grow up together. It's a group of top players and juniors, and they're all kind of close together in level, but then one of those or two of those shoot to the top, right? And now they all know each other, they're all friendly with each other, they all practice with each other. And the ones that didn't shoot to the top, they know, like, okay, I used to play against Sinner or or Musetti, and I used to beat him in practice. I'm not that much worse than them. Maybe there's a little bit of envy, jealousy. Those things can't push a player. And now, these two players that have blown up and gone to the top of the junior rankings have done great things. The ones that practice with them, they also go up. They're also pushed by this. So it's a whole group of players that gets pushed together, and they all get to the highest level. Now, the ones that shot to the top of initially, they might not end up at the top in the pros. Like, similar thing happened in the United States with a group of players like Tiafoe, Kozlov, Fritz. You know, Kozlov kind of was at the top in juniors, but then didn't really go to the top in the men's. So it doesn't always happen, but often, you know, they all push each other together and they go towards the top. And that's something that for sure has happened in Italy to a certain extent, combined with the infrastructure, the tournaments, the practice facilities. Also the weather is pretty good in Italy too. And that's what happened. In Spain, it's different because they've always had a great culture and great tradition for tennis. So that's a little bit different there. And so, yeah, there would be an explanation for that. But, you know, the Eastern European female player thing, it makes sense in a country like Czechia. That makes sense there. You could say similar things for Czechia that you can say about Italy: great infrastructure, tournaments, great coaching, all that. But then combine all the other countries. There are some with no infrastructure and not really a good history of coaching or tournaments or federations really with no money, and still these players find themselves at the top. And a lot of them go to other countries, and so for that reason, can't put my finger on something where you can say, okay, this is why Eastern European females are so good. You know, I hope you understand where I'm coming from with that. But it's a good question. It's a long answer. I don't know. We can talk about it some other time. I don't want to bore you guys. But in any case, I'm still bummed for Berrettini, to be honest. This is a big bummer. And I hope that he's okay. I really hope that he's okay. That he can play on grass. I would hate to see him be out for months again with whatever he hurt there. So in any case, let me quickly check what time the women's matches are on tomorrow. I definitely will be live streaming those. We got Kostyuk, Andreev at 9 a.m. Okay, got it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 9. And look out for day 11, I think. Is it day 11? Yeah, day 11 coverage of Roland Garros this evening. I'm going to release it, where I definitely will not be talking about Eastern European women. I guarantee you that. We'll keep it strictly to Roland Garros. But we are going to discuss the women. But first, I got to spend a couple of hours watching those matches because I have not had a chance to watch them. I've been live streaming all day. I saw a little bit of the Kalinskaya match, but I got to rewatch those. And I will see you guys tomorrow, and then make sure that you subscribe to Intuitive Tennis, to both of my channels, Intuitive Tennis 24/7, Intuitive Tennis, the main channel. And, you know, make sure you hit everything possible on these videos. Demolish all buttons available to you so that the algorithm learns that you like these videos, if you happen to like them, of course. And then the lives will pop up on your homepage more frequently. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one, okay? Take care.